All right. Hi, guys. So good to see all of you. I'm glad to see you guys are joining in. I see you guys coming in here. Hopefully, we are in good shape today. I did a little bit of troubleshooting, and we'll just see how it goes. I'm just going to turn up my volume for a minute here, make sure everything's okay. Yeah, looks good. Okay. So, happy August. We are into a whole new month, and that means that we are starting with a new stamp focus set. And mine is now looking like totally well loved because I have finished all of the projects for the month. I just need to catch up on getting that on information to you. So, of course, we are using the Picket Fence Base the Sun. You see how dark mine is? It's because I used Stays On with it, and now it is completely stained a dark color, but that's okay. It still stamps, and now I can find it no matter where it is. Anyway, I wanted to share with you guys a few things to be on the lookout for. I'm going to flip over my screen so we can share my desktop for a minute. So let me flip that over. And hopefully this doesn't freak out on us. Okay, so this is my blog. It's Pixel Maven's Retreat, or PM Retreat for short. And I wanted to show you guys a few things on here. So the sketch challenge, I just did up a new sketch challenge, and that went live yesterday. So it is up here in my menu, sketch challenge. And my my site might be changing a little bit, but everything is in the menu is still going to be there. So this is a sketch starter challenge page. You don't have to go back to the original post for the month. You can always go to the sketch starter page. And this month I'm trying something new. Because I'm doing so many more sketches, I thought I would give you the choice of what sketch you wanted to use. So we have 4 sketches this month. So you get to pick and choose whichever sketch you would like to use. And of course, you can enter more than once. The winner that I pick is randomly generated from all the entries. So the more you enter, the more chances to win. So play all month. And now you have 4 sketches to choose from. And when you hover over them, if you click on them, they will pop up into a larger size. So I wanted to share that with you. Oh, and I should put a link on this page to, I have a Pinterest board now that I am sharing all of these on. So I'll add a link on this page to the Pinterest board in case you want to follow along on that board and get your sketches from there. So I wanted to show you guys that. And then I also wanted to show you underneath my shop button here, if you go to shop all, I have 2 new things in my product catalog. I've got the Accent Opaque 100-pound white and the Accent Opaque 80-pound white. And these are the cardstocks that I am using like religiously. I've jumped off of the Nina Solar White bandwagon and I'm onto the Accent Opaque train. I think I might be the engineer for it. I don't know how many people out there are actually using it, but I think it's amazing paper. And I've got it out there. The one thing I would say is that if you're looking at pricing and you're comparing it to what you can get at Amazon, it is fairly competitive. What's going to kill you, though, is the shipping. Paper is heavy, and therefore shipping is not cheap. If you do just one pack of one or the other, you can get first class shipping for about $5.50. Or if you combine and get both of them, you can get the priority flat rate bubble mailer for $7.50 or $8, something like that. But overall, it's still cheaper than if you were to get a smaller pack, like a 25 pack of Nina Solar White, and then still have to pay whatever company you're getting that through, paying shipping. Now, if you have room for it, I totally recommend you get the ream from Amazon because it's much cheaper. And if you're Amazon Prime, of course, you get the shipping for free. So definitely consider that, what kind of space you have. If you just want to try it out, you definitely get a pack from me, try it out, see if you like it. And then in the future, get it from Amazon. And if you happen to remember it, click on one of my affiliate links, and then I'll get just a little bit of a commission when you do that at no extra cost to you. So those were the 2 things that I wanted to show you. And there we go. So, oh yeah. So Becca, I did see your order in there. It timed out though. So my site is kind of set up to cancel orders after it sits for too long. So try it again. If you run into problems, just email me and let me know. Cool. So let's see. We are good. Hey, things are running. So far, so good. Knock on wood. Okay, so hey, let's get to some crafting today. So like I said, I have the entire month's cards done and ready to go. I am still working on the PDF from last month. I'm hoping to have that out this weekend. So I will remind you guys about that on Thursday. The PDF is over 20 pages long right now. So it is going to go on my website and I am going to charge for it. But for my followers here on the Thursday that I do release it, I will give you guys a coupon code so you can get it for free. And I hope you guys really enjoy it. I put a lot of work into it. And it's basically like an e-magazine. It is unbelievably beautiful. So yeah, and it's huge. So each page is, each 2-page spread gives you a large picture and then a smaller picture with the a couple of pictures plus full step-by-step and supply list with links. And then at the end, I've got like a listing of some favorite things and all that kind of stuff. It is really spectacular. Oh, you know what I should tell you? If you want to see kind of what it looks like, I'm going to take you back here. Go to, let's see, go to the Inspire file archive. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Go to the Inspire file archive and click on any one of these multi-project ones. It will be very similar to these, except in my estimation, slightly better. So, although I think pretty close. Let me look. I think that if you use this July one here, you'll get a really good representation of what you're going to get. It's very, very cool. So yeah, check those out. And then, like I said, I'm hoping to have the other one done up by next week. So then you guys will get a coupon code for it. Yay. And that'll be available only to the people on the live. So I got to figure out how to limit that. But I'll figure it out. Probably a time limit. So it'll be like a time essential thing. I'll give you guys the coupon code. You'll have a day to use it. And then if you don't get it, sorry. So that's what I'm thinking. If I can figure out a better way to do it, I will. So anyway, yay, let's get to some crafting. Okay, pop down. Okay, so I have like redone my space here over and over and over again. I pulled my microphone closer and actually I'm not really close to it right now. There we go. So hopefully I'm a little louder today. I got some feedback on some of my other videos that I'm kind of quiet. So I thought I would try a different setup here. So hopefully that's good for you guys. I also kind of moved my camera a little closer, so a little more head on. I don't have to look off to the side and everything. So I think I've got a good setup and we seem to be rolling pretty good today. So, and I think I have everything out, but you know, we roll with the punches here. Okay, so let's take a look at today's cards. All of the supplies are listed below in the description of today's video. And they are all affiliate links, which means that if you click on them and shop with them, I may receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. And that's how I help finance all of this craft education that I do for you guys that is free of charge. So please do click on those links and shop with me. I appreciate it. Okay, so this one is gorgeous. It is black heat embossed on a wood sheet. This wood sheets are carried by Altenew. This is the birch wood sheet. So I'm going to show you guys that, and we're going to watercolor on it. So gorgeous. And then this one is, I have to admit, except for this one, all of the background pieces that I used this month are from my scrap bin. So I was really happy to use up things in my scrap bin. Of course, I'll be recreating them when I'm with you, but I'm really was happy to go through the bin and find some really cool things to use with this stamp. So then this one has a watercolor background, and then the flower is colored with Altenew artist markers. So of course you can use Copics, you can use Spectrum Noirs, any alcohol-based marker but I happen to have the Ulta new ones. So this is what we're going to be working on. And let's see, I think we will start with the black one and go from there. Okay, so I need some water and I need this lovely wood sheet. So the wood sheets, like I said, are from Ulta New, and they come from, they're birch, and they have paper on the back. So it's got some adhesive on it. And it is real wood. You can bend it, you can crack it, you can break it, all sorts of things. It cuts just fine with your paper cutter. I don't know about like the ones with the little tiny blades in them, but my rotary trimmer works great with it. Guillotine trimmer works great with it. You can cut pieces out with your die cut machine with it. I have embossed with it. I just kind of spray it down a little bit first with some water, so that way it softens up the fibers, and I've been able to emboss it with an embossing folder. And then, of course, you can color on it, stamp on it, heat emboss on it, all sorts of things on it. The one thing is that it is like, it's wood. So because of the grain, sometimes you're going to get spread. It's going to, the ink is going to spread out, and it's going to follow the lines of the wood grain. So what I find is that when you stamp on it, you just have to know that that's going to happen, and decide if you like the look of it or not. What I have found, though, is that, and even like with watercolor, it's going to spread into the pores and move around or whatever. But what I found, which I was super excited about, is that when I heat embossed with it, that heat embossing still kept the color inside the lines. So none of this color bled out into the background, and none of the background bled into the flower. So I thought that was a really great way to use the wood sheets and not have to worry about bleed through or bleed over, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm actually going to stamp the sentiment on here too. I did grow through what you go through. So today we're just using this stamp set straight up. We're not using any other stamp sets. But you could put anything on here. Spread many seeds of happiness, joy and love. Forgiveness is freedom, all sorts of really good, empowering and enlightening stamps here. So if everything is like just barely going to fit on here. I don't even know. Oh, I can. Okay, good. Look at how that fits on here. This is the mini MISTI, and everything just barely fits. Okay. So with this, I need to grab it because I forgot. You're definitely going to want to use your anti-static powder. You are still going to get strays on here, though. I think it's just because of the grain of the wood, the pores, etc. That's just going to happen. And you know what? I forgot to pick up my black embossing powder. Now, if you wanted to do something cool, you could do this in clear embossing, and then like the wood would kind of show through. That would be a cool way to do it. But we're going to do black today because we're going to do that black background. So I'm going to use VersaFine Clair. And part of the reason I'm doing that is because it is an oil-based ink, and it's not going to spread as quickly on the wood sheets, and that's going to give me a good impression. I don't think I put this down in the supply list, though. Of course, you can use your VersaFine. They're both the same. If you haven't seen that video, I did a video comparison or discussion on VersaFine versus VersaFine Clair, and it really answers a lot of questions that people have a lot about that particular line of inks. It's a good one to go through. Okay, so let's see what we got. Haha, gorgeous. Now this is just absolutely stunning on the wood all by itself. So you could totally be done. Just let it be and pop it on a card base and call it a day. And actually what I'm really noticing here is that ink really soaked into that wood. I'm hardly getting any off on my towel, which is really awesome. Okay. So there we go. right, and we're going to heat set that with some black embossing powder. Now, a reason why I like to use black ink with black embossing powder is because if it happens to dry or I happen to miss a spot with the embossing powder, I still have black underneath, right? So that kind of helps cover up any mistakes. When I can, I try to match my embossing powder color to the ink. So I use like a gold pigment ink when I'm doing gold, or even a gold pigment ink when I'm doing like copper, silver, etc. And then of course the VersaFine clear line comes in lots of different colors, so you can color match that way too. Okay, so that's cool. You know, Sue, I thought I was like the only one that did that. So that's good to know. Other people out there do the same. Okay, so I'm going to heat this guy up. Okay. All right. So there we go. Good embossing on here. You can tell now it has already started to buckle a little bit. And that's definitely going to happen more easily with the wood grain because of that paper backing. It's just attached by some glue. But now that it's cooling off, it is starting to flatten out a little bit. Okay. And so I think I got all of it. Kind of probe gently, make sure I did. Yeah, looks good. Okay, great. So now it's time to watercolor. All right, I am using some liquid watercolor brushes. Oh, you know what? Let me do two things. So I did kind of want to tape this down a little bit. The wood likes to buckle. If you can tape this down, definitely tape it down. Good to see you guys. So glad to see all the peeps joining today. All right. I think maybe I can get away with just taping down two sides. That might just be enough. No, probably not. Yeah, I totally agree, Ms. Tam. It totally looks great. Just like this. You could leave it just brown, au natural with the wood, and it would look awesome that way. Okay. So really basically this will just get watercolored and then put onto a card base. So I might just leave it on here so that way it has a chance to dry and dry flat. It really does like to curl and buckle. So like I said, if you can tape it down, that is the best thing to do. And these are just the medium or the small palettes from Ulta New. All right, so Sue says she's glad I'm using watercolor brushes. And so am I. They're so fun. Okay, Persian blues for later. Okay, so I'm using like all the colors are from this set. So I'm using espresso, rouge, of course, citrus burst, and then black we'll use later, and then emerald. Okay, so we are going to start with the citrus burst. All right, and then I have 2 brushes here. They are a 3 and a 4, so they're about the same size. I just wasn't quite sure. I think the 3 is going to be better. It's slightly smaller. Yeah, Becca, it totally looks like a wood block. It's really, really cool. Okay, so with this yellow, I am just coloring in the whole thing indiscriminately, just all of the petals that will be yellow for our gorgeous sunflower. All right. And I could have done, okay, so you saw I started off with the paint off on the side there, and then I'm just kind of adding some water to it and then just spreading it. I could have done the opposite where I put water on here and then add it in with the brush directly. So let me show you what that looks like. So down here, I've kind of run out of color. And the wood really does like to soak it in. So now I can just come over it directly with the color, but I am going to get it's pretty vibrant. All right. So sometimes putting it on a palette is better because you get a little bit more control with how much pigment you're getting versus putting it directly on. And then, you know, sometimes you get the dreaded splooge, the blob of color just comes blobbing out and you're like, no, you've spent hours working on it and then you just get the, and with watercolor, like forget it. I mean, that happens with Copic markers too, and other alcohol markers, but with watercolor, there's like no coming back from that. And it's always so devastating. Okay, so yellow. Okay, avoid all of these guys over here. These are all green. So when you look at a sunflower, this is not the yellow petals. This is when it's opened up, it's so tight, that little bulb of sunflower goodness, and it opens up and it's got all those beautiful green leaves around the outside. So definitely make sure that you're keeping all of these plain right now, so that way we can add the green later into them. Okay, so while this is still wet, I need to get into here with some orangey colors. So believe it or not, I'm using rouge, and rouge is a pinky orange, a peachy color, I guess. And I'm watering that down a little bit. I always have my water on the wrong side. Like my water should totally be over here because I'm always like going over my project. Okay, so the great thing about this set is that it tells you exactly where to put your shadows. So where all these little black lines are, that's showing you where shading is happening. Okay, and this is a really intense color. I thought I had it watered down enough, but I did not. That's okay, I can fix that. Because I kind of made this same mistake when I first started working on my samples. The rouge really comes across as super bright. All right, so I'm just coming into the areas where these little black lines are. That is indicating to you that there is shading and different colors and such going on there. All right, so even like on this one, I've got like this little dot, dot, dot of black. That just means that that petal's probably a little darker. There may be a little bend there, something like that. Okay. Try to keep those tips nice and yellow. Look at all this dark goodness going on in here. Okay, so this spot right here, I got a little too much rouge into. So there's a couple of choices. I can pop some water in there and then try to lift some out, which it'll work kind of. And then you might want to come back in with a little bit more yellow just to try to get that to brighten up again. And actually that worked pretty well. But what I found actually worked really great was to do my third color, which ended up being espresso. So this is the Winter Wonderland set, and I don't have it swatched yet. So I didn't really know how dark the espresso was. But when I put it out on my palette, I was like, wow, that's really light. I expected it to be super dark, but it's kind of more like a drip coffee. It is not espresso to me. So this worked really well as the third color in my flowers. So bringing that in to the backs of the of these petals here. And honestly, I don't even think I needed to dilute it. If I come in direct with the marker, it's going to add a little bit of dullness. And that's exactly what you want to finish these petals off. Because remember, we've talked about shadows before. When you get into the shadows and something is colored, it's not the same color, but with black in it, it is a different color. So when you look at shadows, take a look at shadows this week and see what color is that shadow really. Is it a darker version of yellow, or is it more of a taupey brown color? And you'd be really surprised at how complex shadows are. So it's not always about just adding a darker shade of something. It's about figuring out what those muted tones are that create the shadows for you. All right, so using this brown actually worked out really well because it tones down the yellow, it tones down the orange, and then it really makes that sunflower kind of pop off the page and become very lively. All right, so that is the flower head. Okay, I'm just kind of looking at my stats right now, and things are looking really good. So I'm glad we're rolling okay today. Okay, next I'm going to do the leaves. I'm using Emerald. This is an intense color. So I'm definitely working from my palette because it is super, super dark. All right, so we've got lots of water in there. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah. Okay, and so even more than that, I'm just going to come in with plain water and get this kind of started. Right, and then just the tiniest bit of this. Start popping that in. And because I have watered down first, it's going to move that around for me. I could have gone with a slightly smaller brush still, but because I know I'm doing that black background, I'm not really worried about any kind of color that may end out in the background here, because it's just going to get covered in black. All right, so how are you guys doing this week? I can't believe it's August. The world is still crazy. We've had some like up and down weather here this week. And we had an unexpected rainstorm today that was totally awesome because we totally need it here. So, Sue, I just saw your comment come in. A teacher said for shadows to use dark blue over black. And yes, I do that too. When I'm doing colored pencils, I use indigo a lot for my shading and shadows. It looks more realistic than just a black. So yes, that's definitely a good way to go. All right, so now that I've got kind of a base coat in here, let this dry for a second, I can come in with this it's not full strength, but it's definitely got a lot more pigment to it, and just start getting into some of these little nooks and crannies. This is a really fun way to watercolor because you've got your guardrails of the embossing. Really helps to kind of keep everything from getting too crazy. All right, so I think I'm going to let that just kind of chill out for a minute. So I'm going to turn this around and start working on the black over on this side. And then maybe we'll come back in to some more of this green. All right. So with the black, I am going to get kind of a border this time because I have it taped down. On this one, I didn't have it taped down, so I don't really have, I just kind of have this unevenness around it, which is fine too. I found that putting down some water first and then putting the black, dropping it in, as they say, was the best way to go about doing this. So where is my black? Here it is. I'm always opening these on the side because they like to splooge. And I don't want to get that all over the place. Now I am going to dilute this quite a bit because I want some of that wood grain to come through. That's good. And I don't have to worry about getting too close to the rest of it because it does have that little border with the heat embossing. So I can really get kind of right up to it. Let's see. Oh yeah, you have Tropical Fiesta, Heidi. Let's set that up for a minute. Pull out. See, oh yeah. Okay. So with the Tropical Fiesta set, you have basically everything you need here. You would do fresh lemon, sun-kissed for your orange, and then maybe pull in a little bit of paper bag. You're probably going to want to dilute that a little bit. And then for your background, instead of doing black, I would do Desert Night because you would end up with something, the blue would be even more dramatic than this blue here. And that would just look really stunning to do a blue background. So that's what I would do if you had the Tropical Fiesta set. Hope that helps. Yeah, Desert Night is gorgeous. It's one of my favorite blues. It's moody. Yeah, so if you get the black light enough, then it's just kind of stained, right? Which is really, really pretty. And then it's not competing with the black embossing, so I can go right over my sentiment here. Not concerned about that. It is kind of leaking through my my tape, but I don't care. All right. Okay, so anybody make any good purchases this week? And the only reason I ask is because I've been hemming and hawing about two things, purple tape and pixie spray. And I ended up landing on two things that are not purple tape or pixie spray. One is this tape here. and we'll see how it performs today. If it's too sticky or not sticky enough or whatever, and we'll see how that works. And I can't remember the brand of it. I will link to it if anyone's interested. And then I ended up picking up a container of the Krylon temporary adhesive spray instead of the pixie spray, because I couldn't justify spending so much for 3 ounces of pixie spray, because I think that's like, I think it's on Amazon, I saw it was like $10 for 3 ounces of spray, whereas I could get the Krylon for like 10 ounces for $12. So I was like, nope, getting the Krylon. I haven't tried it yet though, so I hope that's not a mistake. Anyway, Heidi, yes, I'm using the Transon brushes. I love these brushes. There's probably other really great brushes out there, but for the value, for the price, these brushes are awesome. I think I have them linked down below for you too. Super great price on these. And I believe they're a hybrid. I know they have some hair in them, so they're like goat hair and synthetic, and they just have such a nice weight to them. They hold water really great. Super great find. And it was just like a random find on Amazon. I was looking for brushes and it came up in my search. And I said, oh, those are a great price. I'll give them a try. Yeah, so see, this card looks really amazing, but you can see, I mean, we've been going for about 30 minutes here and I'm about to be done with this. So it just needs to sit aside and dry. You can heat set it dry, but it's going to want to curl and things like that. So if I leave it on here, it's going to just stay and then dry mostly flat. So I'm going to let this guy be. Actually, one thing I am going to do before we go on this one is, now that this has had some time to dry, just put some more green in here. Because before it was just kind of spreading everywhere and I didn't want it to. I wanted to have some little dark areas. So there we go. Awesome, right? Spectacular. Oh, it's really funny when you start working on things and you're like, your mind is going somewhere else and whatever. I totally remembered how I'm going to do this whole thing with the PDF so you guys can get it for free. I am going to do a survey about last month's class. It's going to be just a quick like 5-question survey. And at the end of the survey, it'll have the code so you can get it. But the survey will only be open on Thursday during the live stream, and then I'll close it. So you'll have to grab the code then. You'll be able to use the code afterwards, but you won't be able to like get it again. It'll be hidden. So, but if you happen to forget it, I'll have your survey response. So if you email me, I can get you the code. That's what I was going to do. See? All right. So like I said, I'm going to let this sit and dry. And probably by the time we're done with the other one, this will be ready to go onto a card base. If not, it can stay on this and that'll be okay. Let me just show you. So it's going to have a really nice kind of organic edge to it. It's not going to be perfect, which I think we're really going to like. So there we go. Project numero uno. Okay. Okay, so for the second one, we need to do the background. And for that, okay, so for this particular background, like I said, I pulled it from my stash. And I know that for this one, I used Ultramarine, which is in the, think it's in the new set. Yeah, it is. It's in the new Autumn Festival set, Ultramarine. It's a really beautiful shade of blue. But I wanted to stick to one set of brushes, so I decided I would use the Persian blue instead. Okay, so I need a larger brush. Okay. Oh, and I should just show you since Heidi's asking. The Transon brushes, this is the whole set that you're going to get, which I really like. So you get a nice, decent sized round brush. This is really great for doing backgrounds. We'll use this one. And then all sorts of different sized ones. Put them in order here. All the way down to this little teeny tiny number 0 brush. So it's a really nice selection of brushes. And like I said, they just, they work really well. So totally worth it. All right, so this big brush, I love it. As soon as you get water on it, you can just feel that it's like heavy, it's laden with water, and it holds it. This whole thing is soaked with water, but it's not dripping. And I really like that about these. I mean, I can just get a ton of water in here and not have to worry about drippage. All right, so just soaking the background here. This one could be taped down too. Okay, so the Persian is more of a purpley blue versus the blue blue. Okay, so I've got my ink on there, and then I'm just going to clean up my edges and get the color to go around. Now, water is a fascinating thing, right? It creates this tension. So the ink is not going to go beyond the water line unless you push the water line further out. So that's how you can create these nice kind of organic borders without having to worry about your ink going everywhere. Just give this a nice little back and forth. Now, if I had taped this down, which actually I might just do here. When you don't tape it down, the color starts to go down the edges and you start getting that like little dark border around the edge. We're not going to use this anymore, so I can tape it down. And we'll see if this tape is worth it. Oops. See, I knew I was going to do that. Now maybe it ended up on the tape. That would be good. All right, so if I leave this flat, then I won't have, I won't get any of those little funky lines. And I just did that and I should not have. Now I need to go over the whole thing again. All right, there we go. Okay, now we are literally done with the water. Seriously. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to do some coloring. It's not a, what is that? Oh, hang on a second. Oh, power supply. Okay. Power supply to my computer just fell, and obviously I didn't want to run out of power on my computer. Okay. So we need to do, pardon my head for the moment, and to do some stamping again. And we'll swap out our sentiments. And for this one, I did Embrace the Day. In future weeks, we're going to match up different stamp sets for sentiments, so you'll get to see some other good ideas. All right. Oh, you know what? This is going to go on to the background, so I don't want to do that. We just need this stamped on here because we're going to color it. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to use Memento because we are going into alcohol markers. And I don't want to have any color smearing. So Memento Tuxedo Black is perfect for getting great impressions that work well with your alcohol markers. It is water-based, so that's what you need to remember. If you are using alcohol markers, you want to use a water-based ink, a dye ink, to do your image stamping with, okay? That is not VersaFine Clair. VersaFine Clair is oil, and oil and water work together. Oil and alcohol do not. So dye and alcohol, or water and alcohol. And then if you're going to watercolor, VersaFine Clair, this is water-based. You don't use this with Memento. You don't use it with your watercolors because water and water obviously mix together. So that's why you need to have at least 2 blacks. Of course, you can use a hybrid ink, and that will work for, in most cases, I think it will work for both. You can do your watercoloring with it, and you can also do your alcohol markers with it. But it usually dries fast, which means that you can't emboss with it. All right. Okay, so the coloring on this one isn't too bad. This is yet another good beginner stamp for coloring. And what's going to take the longest is fussy cutting it, because a lot of Picket Fence stamp sets do not have dies. This does not have a die that comes with it. So you either have to fussy cut it or use something like your scan and cut, and I don't have a scan and cut, so I'll be fussy cutting. Okay, so this marker collection, the greens with the black, this is Green Fields. And this one is eluding me right now. It is Afternoon Sun, maybe, I think. The yellow collection, it's got Paper Bag, Caramel Toffee, Buttercream, and Warm Sunshine. And both of these, let's see, this one you can get in set A, and I think this one comes from set B of the Ultimate marker sets. Or you can get them individually, 4s and 4s. They come in groups of 4 together. Okay, so just make sure this is dry. All right. I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with the darker of the 2 yellows, which is Warm Sunshine. And then I'm going to move into Buttercream, and then we're going to back it in with some of the darker browns for shading. So you can kind of see on here that I've got a lot of Warm Sunshine, and it goes into the Buttercream color. And then in the backs here, I've got some of those darker, probably Paper Bag, not the Caramel Toffee. Oh, Caramel Toffee, not Paper Bag. Paper Bag is darker. All right. So let's start with Warm Sunshine. Okay, so for these, you can use either the brush or the bullet nib. For this, because I'm really going to be filling in a lot of space, I'm going to use the brush, and I am doing a flex stroke. Okay, so you are kind of on the side of the tip, and you're just going flick. You can flick left, you can flick right. Okay, and that's going to give me kind of a degrades at the end, so that way it helps, and you get less ink at the end, so that helps with the blending. And again, I'm using all of these little black lines in the stamp to give me shading cues. So you see how I just did a little bit right there? It's because there's a couple little black dots there. And that's going to help make that give that petal a little bit of motion. So basically for this one, kind of everywhere there's those little black dots, I'm putting some warm sunshine. And that makes it pretty easy. It's like color by numbers. All right, so that's a pretty good start. Now I'm going to come in with the buttercream and I'm going to fill in all the rest of the color. So I'm not going to leave any white on this one. I'm just going to fill that in and let these two colors mingle together. All right, so today we did watercolor, now we're doing alcohol markers. Which do you guys prefer? Do you like one over the other? Does it depend on what kind of mood you're in? Does it depend on the image? Like, would you prefer to do watercoloring on one kind of image versus doing alcohol markers on another kind of image? Have you never used alcohol markers or watercolor? Maybe you like color pencils. Let's chat. Oops. One more bit there. All right, so it's starting to come to life. Heidi, you're so funny. Let's see. So Becca uses mostly alcohol markers. Heidi doesn't feel comfortable with them, but likes watercolor in its many forms, even though she says she's not good at it. Practice makes perfect. So keep practicing and you will get better at it. You'll find your style with it too. So you can take classes, which I think is a really good thing to do to learn like fundamentals and mixing colors and things like that. And to maybe pick up how other people approach painting with watercolors or with alcohol markers even. But then your practice is going to make your style. So the way that I approach coloring this may be completely different to the way that Becca approaches coloring this. So, and then that's going to give it a different look. But it's going to be my style. Okay, so now I'm taking the caramel toffee. This is the next darker color, and it's actually more of a brown color. And I'm using the bullet nib, and I'm using these little black lines to guide me, and I'm just putting in little lines, just like that, just little lines. And I'm trying to keep them closer to the bottom, and that's where those lines are anyway. I'm not filling it in completely, just some. So this is one of those situations where start with less and then add more if you need to. Okay, so I've got that in there. I want to accentuate some of these petals in the back, and so I am going to add in some more of this caramel color on a few of these little leaves, petals, I should say, just to make them stand out a little bit more. Like some of these back here, I completely colored in even. There we go. This one is kind of interesting here. So this petal is basically turned over. It's like that. And then this is the underside of it. So let's make that really dark. And then this petal here kind of comes up and over. So we'll make this dark in here. And then this one kind of twists around a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty good. All right, so I am going to use the darkest color, the paper bag, and add in just the tiniest bit of final shading. And that's really going to stay low. So when I look at like this particular petal here, that's as far as I'm going to go. Just this little area right here with this paper bag color. I don't want to extend too far up into it. Otherwise, the whole petal is going to get a really dark look that I don't want. But these areas back here, super dark. I can color those in almost fully. All right, so colored pencils. What's this talk on colored pencils? Watercoloring is not quite the mystery. Yes, colored pencils are fun. Good, I'm glad you like them, Nancy. So you can color this with colored pencils too if you want. I'm actually doing a base in alcohol markers and then doing accents with colored pencils is really popular because you can get so much more detail with a nice sharp colored pencil at you that you could never get with an alcohol marker because there's always going to be some blend. So yeah, colored pencils are, I use colored pencils for accents with my alcohol markers. I don't think that I've done anything that's straight up colored pencil though. Not in recent history, at least. All right. So there. So even though this stamp came with these little black lines that kind of help indicate where depth is, by adding in extra depth with our color, it really pushes and pulls all of these little petals forward and back, doesn't it? So that is really standing out. I love this, just like the plain, this colored with nothing else. I think that's really, really pretty. Yeah, okay, so Nancy, and I've talked about her before. You need to check out the Vanilla Arts Company. Her name is Amy Schulke. She does amazing work with Copic markers and colored pencils. Unbelievable. And yeah, it's just really cool what she does. Okay, so we're going to go into the greens. Obviously, we're not using the black. So I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to start with the medium green here, which is Forest Glades. And then I'm going to go into the light green, which is Frayed Leaf, and then come back in with Evergreen, which is really dark, to get us some detail. Now I am using the bullet tip on this one because these little leaves are kind of small. You can do the same kind of flicking stroke with a bullet nib. It just has a different texture to it because it doesn't decay as much as the brush does. All right, so there is a lot going on with these leaves. They are layering over each other, under each other, flipping and turning. So like this big leaf here needs to have some shadowing here, but then it's coming out from behind everything else, so it needs a shadow there. Yep, and we might get an Iggy. I hear him coming. Oh, we'll see you later, Heidi. I'm glad you're able to join us. I hope your back feels better. Back pain is no fun. Go ice it. Put some ice on it. And we'll see you next time. And we are actually at 5 o'clock. So I knew these two were going to take a little bit longer. And I kind of debated on which ones I was going to do today. But here we are. Okay, so let me finish this up quick. So I'll use the brush on this side. So I'm basically just going to go over everything in this lighter green. And that's going to help the darker green blend. Go. Am I going to give you a sneak peek? Yeah, maybe. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. When I was showing you my website, I am going to have a new page up on the website that is going to have all the information for the current and previous stamp focus. So it's going to be like a one-stop shop. It'll have links to all of the videos. It will have links to all of the supplies. It will have a link to the PDF, etc. So that way, if there's a month that you miss one or you happen to just miss an episode or whatever, like you'll always have a place where you can go back to get that information. And I'll start putting, when I have that set up, I will start putting that link in the description below so that way you can always find it. And of course, it'll be out on my blog. I'll have it in the main menu. It'll say stamp focus or something like that. And then you can just click on that and it'll take you where you want to go. There. All right, so I got a little sketchy with that. Just need to blend these out. The dark green is really dark, so you kind of have to come back and blend in over it. There you go. Now, when you're working with alcohol markers, if you're putting a second layer over things, you're literally putting a second layer of color. So if you don't like how light something is, but you don't want to move up to the next darker color marker, put a layer of the same color over it. So this light green, this frayed leaf, if I put it over some of these leaves, but not others, I'm going to end up with like a single layer frayed leaf, and then I'm going to end up with some that have a double layer of frayed leaf on it, and that's going to help like create an intermediary color, if you will. There, and that'll help blend out those darker areas that I worked on. There. Gorgeous. This is just popping off the page. I'm going to pull out all the sunflower seeds, eat them up. Okay, so we need to do some fussy cutting here. Favorite part, right? So I did try to keep a bit of a border around this. And so you just got to take your time. For all this little stuff in here, I'm not going to go in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And I'm not going to worry about anything in between that I can't really get to, because I'm not going to pull out like an X-Acto knife and cut that out. And you could. I'm not going to. So like for here, I'll cut just a little bit. And then that's as far in as I'm going to go. I meant to put these scissors on the list too. These are stamp scissors that I got from when I was with Stampin' Up, but they are the EK Success paper snips, and I love them. I've had the same set of scissors for ever. I've never sharpened them, and they will still cut your finger off. I tried those ones from the serrated ones from Tim Holtz, and I'm not a fan of the serrated. Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much for letting me know, Roberta. So 2 things with the microphone. So first of all, I moved it closer. And second of all, I realized that it was on a setting that maybe was making my voice go in and out if I moved left and right and stuff like that. So I didn't have it on the right setting. So thank you for the feedback. I'll have to go back and listen and see how it sounds. I think I'm probably going to end up getting a scan and cut. But sometimes I feel like I can fussy cut just as fast as I could plop it into the scan and cut and tell it what to do and wait for it to cut. Then again, if I like cut off the flower, that would make me really mad. But if the scan and cut cuts off my flower, that would make me really mad too. The same thing can happen with a die. So I guess you're always taking a risk if you want to cut out your finished projects. But I've been stamping for long enough that like fussy cutting was the only thing that we had for the longest time, forever, until, I don't know, I guess it was, when did I start with Stampin' Up? 2007. So like 2009, so like 10 years ago is when we started getting, I think it was about when Stampin' Up got the big shot, and then dies really started to evolve after that. And then all these other smaller companies started coming out, and wafer dies came out, and then the game was changed when you didn't have to have like a Biggs die that you couldn't put on paper that you'd already colored or whatever because you couldn't match it up. That's when the game changed. So I like fussy cutting. For the longest time, it was the only choice, and now it's like a therapeutic thing. Someday, though, I'm sure like arthritis or something will catch up with me. Oh, yeah. So, Becca, that's what I've been contemplating too with the brother scan and cut. Cut first, so that way you don't have to worry about ruining your coloring. I think I could be 100% on board with that. I have a space for it. I know exactly where I want it to go. I have a silhouette, a cameo silhouette. It's like the original one that I'll be getting rid of. But I have a different place for my scan and cut that I'm excited about it. It'll be out all the time so I can use it whenever I need it. Got to save up the funds though, you know what I mean? But for now you know that I can fussy cut, and I do a pretty good job of it. I just messed up my spacing over here, but that's okay. Whoa. Yay. So there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Love it. I could imagine a whole bunch of these, and I'm not a scrapbook, but I could imagine these, a whole bunch of them on a big scrapbooking spread. Wouldn't that be just beautiful? Or like a home decor piece. That'd be awesome. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Hey, look, that's dry. Let's put a sentiment on here. No, I don't want that block. Small block. All right. Let's see if we like this tape. Ooh, so far so good. It did not pull the paper off, and it held. All right. So far so good with this tape. I'll put the link in the description on this tape in case anyone's looking for a good tape to use. All right, so I'm using my VersaFine. On the sample, I used the Memento, and it turned out okay. I just think the VersaFine, you get just a little bit more crisp image, right? All right, so as we are wrapping up here, I hope you guys are as excited about this new stamp set for the month as I am. I know a few of you guys did get your hands on it. It is sold out right now at Picket Fence, but they do have it at scrapbook.com if you haven't picked yours up yet. There is a link below for that. And as a reminder, if you didn't join when I was talking about it earlier, those are affiliate links. So if you use them, I may get a small commission at no additional cost to you, and that helps to support this free craft hour. All right. So that's the blue, and this is blue as well. It's just Persian blue, and this is ultramarine blue. And that I'm going to put on. I have so much of this foam strips. I mean, it's nice for making shaker cards, but I don't make this many shaker cards. I have a ton of it. So I've been using it up on other projects. It works as long, you know, it's foamy, it's sticky. It works. Sophie Kitty. I don't know if I know that one. I'll have to go look. That'll work. All right. I love that this just fits on the whole card. And that's all you need. You just need the flower and the sentiment and a little background. And poof, there you go. All right, and then here was our other card. And this is go. Yeah, I can glue that. And this one, like I said, is so nice because that's just going to get glued onto the card base. And that one's done. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. So be on the lookout for a couple new things next week. The PDF will be out. I'll have a survey about last month's classes, last month's live streams to help me improve as we go along. It may or may not have a list and pictures of potential future classes. So maybe you'll be able to vote on what we do next month, which would be kind of fun, right? And And yeah, lots of good things coming your way. So I hope you guys enjoyed these today. And don't forget, if you are out on social media and you make anything with our projects, tag me at Pixel Mavens Retreat. That's my handle everywhere. And you could hashtag this. I guess we could do just a hashtag stamp focus. How about that? And I'll share your projects out on social media. Add the full set of watercolor brushes to the store. I can't do that. I'm not a reseller. You have to get them from Altenew. And these brushes, the Transon brushes, you can get from Amazon. So anyway, I'm glad you guys enjoyed today and that you had a fun time. And I'm so glad to see all of you out there. Stay safe and be well. Enjoy your weekend coming up. I hope you get some crafty time. Don't forget, our new sketch starter is out there. So take a look at the sketches and create some projects and link up. I'm always giving away that $15 gift certificate to Altenew. As I get more players, maybe I'll up that to 2 gift certificates to Altenew. So that would be really awesome to have enough people to do that. It would be very cool. But yeah, and you don't have to use Altenew products for that. You can use any product. And that just happens to be what I have to give away is Altenew gift certificates. So I thought you guys would all enjoy that. Anyway, yeah, hashtagging and tagging me and playing along with all the fun creative things that I put out there. I hope to see you guys out in the social sphere. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go grab some dinner and come back down here and do some cleanup. But I will see you guys next Thursday. Oh, you wanted to see previews. Okay, so I'm not going to show all of them. Okay, so we're going to use lots of different mediums in the next couple of weeks. I will show you, how about I show you 2, and that'll kind of get you guys amped up for, okay, so here's one. And it is shiny. And, oh, geez, I can't tell you, I love all of these cards. So that's all I'm going to show you. And that's the only one I'm going to show you because I love all these cards so much. I want you to be excited about them. You'll see sneak peeks in the preview for the live. So be on the lookout for those because you'll see some of the projects there. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. And yes, Miss Tamp, I will miss you all until then. So find me out on social media and let's keep the conversation going. Have a great week, everyone, and happy crafting.